Sweeter Life, presented by Unique Nutrition. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Kate, and today we're going to be showing you how to make a Christmas favourite, coconut ice. And I say Christmas favourite because it's something that we should not be eating more than once a year.
Yeah.
So what we've got, it's a really simple recipe. There's 4 ingredients. We've got coconut, of course, we've got Natvia, and we've got pink food colouring, and I'm using a virgin coconut oil today instead of what's traditionally used kofa. So kofa, it's also a coconut fat, but it's what we call hydrogenated fat, which turns it into a trans fat, which there's been a lot of talk about over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, trans fats are just not good for you and we should really steer clear. So with the coconut oil, the really good thing about this is that even though it's really high in saturated fats, in fact 90% of it is made up of sat fats, it's really easily digested and it's really good for you. So we shouldn't be frightened of using this. You know, a lot of people carry on about, oh, it should be low fat. No, this is really good fat.
And is it used by the body as an energy source more so than other fats?
Absolutely, and keeps you feeling full and happy and people.
So we start with our coconut and our Natvia, and I'm going to pour my coconut into a bowl. There's about 500 grams there, which is quite a lot. And we've got about 300 grams of coconut oil. Now what I'm going to do is melt this over the stove and put my Natvia in there to dissolve it before I put it in.
So why would you do that?
Well, Lauren, because Natvia, it's not an icing sugar, so we usually would use an icing sugar in coconut ice, and we wouldn't need to pre-dissolve because it's so fine. With this, it's a bit more granular, so what we need to do is just make sure it's all dissolved out before it goes into the bowl, and that should only take a few minutes.
Because otherwise it ends up being a little bit gritty. We want it to be nice and smooth, and so that's why we melt it.
So as the coconut oil melts, I will pour the 1 cup of Natvia in, and we'll mix that until it's dissolved. It should take a few minutes. And when it's all dissolved, it takes about at least 7 minutes, I'd say. It will take a bit longer than sugar to dissolve because it's a bit different makeup to sugar, obviously.
But it smells amazing. Yeah, I know, it smells so good.
Try not to drink it because it'll be tempting.
And it's very hot.
It's very hot.
So what are we doing now?
So now, just like Nigella would, very sensually, we'll pour this into our coconut mixture.
Yeah, nice.
Without spilling it everywhere.
So how many serves do you reckon we'd get out of
this? This is a pretty big dish. It will, 20 to 30, depending on how big you cut your squares, but you don't need a lot of this. It is quite sweet and indulgent.
And it really fills you, and that's where those fats come in. They really fill you up, so
you'll be satisfied after an inch by inch square of this stuff, trust me. So the consistency of this, it won't be a really wet mixture. It'll still be quite fluffy. You'll still see the coconut formation. So we just make sure it's all coated. About that looks pretty good.
Yeah, that looks great.
And then we grab our baking dish. So I usually just use, this is called a Lamington tin. It's a pretty traditional type of baking tin. And we just line it with our baking paper. Very neatly like that.
Is there anything else you could do? Could you spray that tin?
You could spray it, but because it's quite a packed in dish, I've actually never done it without that. I like to be able to lift it out. Yeah, a lot easier when you get it out, and it works fine. So all we do now is we estimate about half of our mixture and we pour that in. If you could maybe just make sure that's all neat for me.
I will try. Excellent. I'm not the neatest cook.
No, we are home cooks. We're not professional chefs by any means. So everything that we do, probably a bit rough and rustic. So I try and get that.
You know, we don't take ourselves too seriously in the kitchen, and you guys shouldn't either. Just give it a whirl. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, a lot of the stuff that we do is experimental, and some of it doesn't turn out.
Some of it doesn't turn out, and you know what?
Some of it turns out great.
So once about half
about the ones that turn out great.
Exactly, like this one. And I'm just taking a spatula. I believe that's what we call that. And I just smooth it out into my dish like that. Maybe you want to keep doing that. Pack it in nice and tightly.
Kate trusts me with stuff like this.
Only something.
Only something.
Only something.
So why have we only used half?
Only used half because we want to get a really nice two-tone. We want it to be white and then a bit of a rose pink on top. So what I do now is I'm taking my rose pink food colouring and I'm going to add this to the remaining mixture. Just 1 to 2 drops is enough. It goes a long, long way. We don't want to make it ridiculously fluoro pink. So
although you could, if you could, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this the other day, and you know, if you didn't want to use anything artificial in terms of the colouring, you could use things like beetroot. So if you just roast a beetroot, drain it, and use the colouring from the excess, it works just as well. And what were the other things we were talking about?
Even chopping up some cranberries at least to get that flavour through. You could even maybe puree a few raspberries.
Oh, absolutely.
Get that through.
Yeah, really well in that.
It might not give you the same evenness of pink colouring that we're getting here, but you'll still be able to differentiate between the white and the pink. And that's all you really want. You just want that pop of colour. Exactly. All right, Lauren. Very nice. Very nicely done. I approve of that.
Good.
Excellent. And now all you do is you put the remaining layer on. Excellent.
It's really pretty.
It is really pretty. Yes. Sorry, I'll try and get that on camera for you guys. Amateur TV people we are.
So this would be a really quick and easy one to do with the kids as well.
Absolutely. There's not a lot of
3-4
cooking involved. Exactly.
Simple.
And once again, we just pack that down and till that's all nice and smooth and even. And then we pop that in the fridge for about 2 hours. Should be enough.
Yeah. And the thing with this too is because we're using the coconut oil and not the cofa, it needs to stay in the fridge in between serving and giving it to people.
Exactly.
It does have a tendency to go a little bit soft.
So coconut oils are much softer than a cofa. Cofa would be fine sitting out all day, even in the hot sun probably, but
we're not using cofa.
Exactly. So the coconut oil, before you serve, just take it out of the refrigerator and it should be fine to cut. And just into the fridge for about 2 hours. So our coconut ice is ready. Aha! It's all now set quite nicely. And all you do, you can see why we use the baking paper because we literally just pick it up.
That's so easy.
And here's the exciting part.
Look at that.
Love that. Yeah.
The colour definition too is really great.
Get a good.
So you probably get a slightly striking pink with the beetroot.
I actually really wish we had done that.
I do too. If anyone tries the beetroot, let us know.
So you can see it's really easy to manoeuvre now on our board, and it's up to you how many you cut this into. If you just want little ones, you can do a variety.
You get heaps out of that.
Oh, you get a lot. You don't need a lot, as I said. So we just very so elegantly, as I've done, chop this into squares. It will crumble a little bit, but that's fine. Makes it look nice and rustic. And then
again, going back to it doesn't need to look perfect. It's
exactly
designed to be.
It's still going to taste amazing. And there we have our sugar-free coconut ice.